Good morning, everyone. How are you all? Hope you all are good. In our today's lecture, we are going to start our next chapter, heat. In this chapter, we'll discuss about hot and cold, temperature, about measuring temperature means about laboratory thermometer and clinical thermometer, digital thermometer and maximum and minimum thermometer, transfer of heat, conduction, good and poor conductors of heat. Why do we wear woolen clothes in winter? Sea breeze, land breeze, radiations, absorbers and emitters of heat radiations. One by one, we'll discuss all these. First, in your previous chapter, means in chapter number 3rd, fiber to fabric, you learned that woolen clothes are made from animal fibers. You also know that cotton clothes are made from plant fibers, and we wear woolen clothes during winter when it is cold outside, and woolen clothes keeps us warm. We prefer to wear light colored cotton clothes when it is hot, and these give us a feeling of coolness. You might have wondered why particular types of cloth are suitable for a particular season. In winter, you feel cold inside the house. If you come out in the sun, you feel warm. In summer, you feel hot even inside the house. How do we know whether an object is hot or cold? How do we find out how hot or cold an object is? In this chapter, we shall try to seek answers to some of these questions. Okay, now let's start. First word is heat. Means, what is heat? Heat is a form of energy. Heat is a form of energy. It makes a substance hotter. It makes a substance hotter. Means heat can't be seen by us. We can feel the heat by the temperature effect it produces. When heat is given to a substance, its temperature increases and it becomes hot. For example, when a utensil is kept on a gas burner, it gets heat, means its temperature increases and it becomes hot. On the other hand, when heat is removed from a substance, then its temperature decreases and it becomes cold. For example, when water is kept in a refrigerator, then heat gets removed from water. Its temperature decreases and it becomes cold. Okay? Means heat always transfer from body of higher temperature to body of lower temperature. Okay, this is the characteristic of heat. Now, hot and cold means in our daily life we come across a number of objects, means some of these objects are hot whereas other objects are cold. For example, tea is hot but ice is cold. Soup is hot but ice cream is cold. Spoon kept in a cup of hot milk is hot, whereas fruit juice is cold. A frying pan is also when you kept on a burning gas stove, it becomes hot, but the handle of frying pan is cold. Even among the hot objects, some objects may be hotter than the other. And some we usually decide whether an object is hot or cold just by touch. By touching it, we can observe object is hot or cold. Sometimes our sense of touch is not reliable in telling us whether an object is really hot or cold. See, one activity you can do at your home. This activity, take three balls and naming them A, B, C. Put cold water in bowl A and hot water in B and lukewarm water means slightly warm water in bowl C. Okay, and we dip our left hand in cold water in bowl A and right hand in hot water in bowl B. See in this figure like this way, left hand in cold water and right hand in hot water, and keep the hands in this way for about 2 to 3 minutes. You have to put your hands in a bowl about 2 to 3 minutes. Now take out the hands from the bowls A and B and dip both the hands quickly in lukewarm water in a bowl. In third bowl, you take lukewarm water, then dip your both the hands quickly in lukewarm water, means that water is slightly warm water. Then we will find that water in third bowl C doesn't feel equally warm to both the hands. To the left hand, which was earlier in cold water, this lukewarm water appears to be hot, and but to the right hand, which was earlier in hot water, this lukewarm water appears to be cold. Okay, is it clear? Means left hand, which was earlier in cold water, this lukewarm water appears to be hot because hand was earlier in cold water. Then you put in warm water, then water appears to be hot. And but to the right hand, which was earlier in hot water, this water, lukewarm water, appears to be cold. This how is possible? Because the same water can't be hot as well as cold at the same time. Actually, our sense of touch is misinforming us in this case. Okay, means same water, our one hand appears to be, our one hand how feel, means in lukewarm it appears to be hot, and other hand it feels cold. So our sense of touch is misinforming us in this type of case. From this above activity, we conclude that we can't depend on our sense of touch for estimating the hotness of an object or coldness of an object. We need some reliable measure for estimating the hotness and coldness of an object. And a reliable measure of hotness or coldness of an object, that is temperature. And the temperature of an object is measured by using a device that is called thermometer. We will now discuss the temperature and its measurement in detail. Okay? Understood? Now, temperature. Temperature is a measure of degree of hotness and coldness of an object. Means temperature of something tells us how hot or cold something is, how hot or cold this thing is. When if we touch a utensil kept on a burning gas stove, it feels to be very hot. We say that temperature of utensil is very high. And if we touch a utensil placed in a refrigerator, it feels to be very cold. And we say that temperature of this is very low. So, like this, a hot object has a high temperature, whereas a cold object has a low temperature. Now, this gives us a definition of temperature, means the temperature of an object is the degree of hotness and coldness of an object. Means the temperature of an object tells us how hot or cold an object is. High temperature of an object tells us it is very hot, whereas low temperature of object tells us it is quite cold. For example, boiling of temperature of boiling water is 100 degrees Celsius, which is quite high. So boiling water feels very cold. And if the temperature of melting ice is 0 degree, then which is quite low, so ice feels to be very cold. Okay, and temperature is measured by using a device or instrument called Thermometer. Thermometer has a scale marked on it which is used to read temperature. Most common temperature scale marked on thermometers for measuring temperature is the Celsius scale. Most common temperature scale marked on thermometer that is for measuring temperature, that is Celsius. And temperature is expressed in unit of degree Celsius, and write in the short form degree C is a symbol you see in this example. And so this unit is read as degree Celsius or just degree C. And in Celsius scale of temperature, the temperature of melting ice is given a value of 0 degree Celsius. Okay, and the temperature of boiling water, the value of 100 degree Celsius. Length of laboratory thermometer tube between 0 to 100 degree. Each division is called degree. Okay, and temperature of an object should always be stated with its unit degree Celsius. Celsius temperature is measured on two scales, degree Celsius scale and Fahrenheit scale, degree F. The Fahrenheit scale is most popular in United States and Celsius scale is most commonly used in Canada. Thermometer is an instrument that is used to measure temperature. Okay? And thermometer is a device for measuring the temperature of an object, and there are two common types of thermometers. First one is laboratory thermometer and second is clinical thermometer. Both these thermometers are based on Celsius scale temperature. Which thermometers? Laboratory thermometer and clinical thermometer. Both thermometers are based on Celsius scale of temperature. Laboratory thermometer as well as clinical thermometer are mercury thermometers. Means when heat is supplied to the thermometer, bulb containing mercury expands and rises in the glass tube of thermometer when we check temperature of body. This fact is used for measuring the temperature of body. We'll now describe the construction working of a laboratory thermometer and a clinical thermometer in detail one by one. Let us discuss first laboratory thermometer. Laboratory thermometer has a long narrow glass tube. It has a bulb at one end of containing mercury. See in the figure, mercury side is like silver color, and it has a scale marked in degree Celsius and measure the temperature in degree Celsius. And the range of laboratory thermometer is generally from minus 10 degrees Celsius to 110 degrees Celsius. Okay, and this is the range of thermometer, laboratory thermometer. And laboratory thermometer is used for measuring the temperature in a science laboratory. Okay, and a laboratory thermometer is made up of a long glass tube T having a thin bore inside it, and there is a glass tube you see, and top of the glass tube is sealed because after removing air this is sealed. And whole length of thermometer glass tube is graduated in degree Celsius, means measure temperature in degree Celsius, and its common range from minus 10 degrees Celsius to 110 degrees Celsius. This means that a common laboratory thermometer can measure a lowest temperature of minus 10 degrees Celsius and highest temperature of 110 degrees Celsius. If we look at the temperature of marking of say 0 degree and 10 degrees Celsius on thermometer tube, we will find the range that there are 10 small subdivisions in between any two, means between 0 to 10 or 10 to 20. In between there are 10 small divisions on this laboratory thermometer tube present, and we can see thin silvery thread of mercury in the narrow glass tube of thermometer. Okay, mercury thread tells the temperature of object, means there a bulb is placed. Now we'll now describe how measure this thermometer and precautions in using the laboratory thermometer. How measure? Take a laboratory thermometer and hold this thermometer and dip in the water so that bulb of thermometer doesn't touch the bottom or the sides of the beaker. Hold the thermometer vertically and the mercury level rises. Wait till the level of mercury becomes steady. Now note the level of mercury, and this will be the temperature of water. Okay. Now some precautions in using the laboratory thermometer. The laboratory thermometer means should be held vertically, and while measuring the temperature it should not be tilted, and thermometer bulb should be surrounded from all sides by the substance whose temperature is to be measured, and read the thermometer while its bulb is still in touch with the substance whose temperature is being measured. Do not hold the thermometer by the bulb, okay, and handle the thermometer with care. It can break or hit against any hard object. And laboratory thermometer can't be used to measure the human body temperature. Okay, this is because as soon as this is important thing, means a laboratory thermometer can't be used, we cannot be used to measure the human body temperature. This is because as soon as we take out the bulb of laboratory thermometer from our mouth, level of mercury in its tube will start falling quickly due to the cooling of its bulb by air. When it touch in air, then it will start falling quickly. This will give a wrong value of body temperature. Understood? So it is clear that for measuring body temperature, we should use a thermometer in which mercury level does not fall even when its bulb is removed from the mouth. So, a clinical thermometer is such a thermometer which is used, we should use to know our body temperature. And the now clinical thermometer is also used doctor's thermometer, and it is also called doctor's thermometer used by doctors, and we also used at our home to measure our body temperature. Now, after laboratory thermometer, next is clinical thermometer. The normal temperature of body is, means this thermometer is used to measure the temperature of our body. That is called simple clinical thermometer. You see, clinical thermometer is also at your homes, and in this figure the normal temperature of human body is 37 degrees Celsius. Okay, and when a person get fever, his body temperature rises, means, and he feels hot, and thermometer used for measuring the temperature of human body is called clinical thermometer. Clinical thermometer is used to measure our body temperature at our home or by a doctor. Clinical thermometer shown in figure, and clinical thermometer consists of long glass tube having a thin and uniform bore, and there is a glass bulb at one end of glass tube. You see, this glass bulb contains mercury, silver color mercury. Outside the glass bulb, a small shining thread of mercury can be seen in thermometer tube. Other end of tube is sealed closed from the other end, and temperature scale is marked on the glass tube of clinical thermometer. And clinical thermometer has a temperature scale marked from 35 degree Celsius to 42 degree Celsius. See this figure. In this figure you see marked from 35 degree Celsius to 42 degree Celsius. Clinical thermometer has a very short range of temperature from 35 degree Celsius to 42 degree Celsius. This means that a clinical thermometer can measure temperatures only from 35 degree to 42 degree. The short range of clinical thermometer is due to the fact that temperature of human body normally does not go below the 35 degrees Celsius or above 42 degrees Celsius. Okay, and see in this figure, a clinical thermometer has a kink, constriction, kink, K-I-N-K, kink, in its glass tube just above the bulb containing mercury. See this bulb, after this bulb a narrow line, that is called kink. Means kink is to prevent the backflow of mercury into the thermometer bulb. When thermometer bulb is removed from the mouth of patient, then it prevent, kink is to prevent the backflow of mercury into the thermometer bulb. Kink prevents the mercury level in thermometer tube from falling on its own. Means it helps to stop the level of mercury. So even when the thermometer bulb is removed from the mouth of patient, the mercury thread will keep standing at the maximum level reached. Don't move after removing the mouth of patient, then this mercury level stable. Due to this, we read the correct body temperature of patient even after removing the thermometer bulb from his mouth. And after noting the body temperature, the level of mercury can be brought down by giving a few jerks to the thermometer tube. Without giving the few jerks of thermometer tube to the thermometer tube, this level of mercury can't be brought down. Okay, so this kink prevent the backflow of mercury into the thermometer bulb when thermometer bulb removed from the mouth of patient. It can't go back at all without giving them few jerk. It can't move. And how to use clinical thermometer to measure body temperature? How we use? Wash the thermometer properly, and if antiseptic solution is not available, then wash it with clean water. Okay, and then hold the tube in your hand and give it a few jerk so that mercury thread in thermometer tube falls below the reading of 35 degree Celsius. Then put the bulb of thermometer under the tongue of patient and hold thermometer tube gently, and keep the thermometer bulb in the mouth of patient for about 1 minute. Then take out a thermometer from patient's mouth, and to read the temperature, hold the thermometer horizontally in your hand and rotate it slowly. A position will come when you see a magnified image of mercury thread in its tube. We read the temperature on thermometer tube in level with the top of mercury thread. This will give the body temperature of patient. Okay. Now some precautions. What's the precautions? Means clinical thermometer should be washed before using, and before using the clinical thermometer we should ensure that mercury level in its tube below 35 degrees Celsius. Read the clinical thermometer by keeping the level of mercury along the line of sight. And the clinical thermometer should never be held by a bulb while reading it. Okay. And handle the clinical thermometer with very care. And thermometer can break if it hits against some hard object. Understood? This is about clinical thermometer and laboratory thermometer. Understood? Both these thermometers. And now similarity between clinical thermometer and laboratory thermometer is that both are mercury glass thermometer. Both have mercuries in the front of this that is called bulb. And difference between clinical and laboratory thermometer is, means in clinical thermometer range is 35 degrees Celsius to 42 degrees Celsius, and but in laboratory thermometer large range minus 10 degrees Celsius to 110 degrees Celsius. The clinical thermometer has a king in its tube to prevent the backflow of mercury into the bulb, whereas laboratory thermometer has no king. And clinical thermometer measures temperature more accurately up to 0.1 degrees Celsius than a laboratory thermometer, because which usually measures up to 1 degree Celsius. Okay. Clinical thermometer measure temperature more accurately up to 0.1 degree Celsius, and but in laboratory thermometer usually measures up to 1 degree Celsius. Understood? This is all about clinical thermometer and laboratory thermometer. Understood? Means clinical thermometer, which type of thermometer we use to measure body temperature, and laboratory thermometer is used in lab. One more thermometer is there now. Most common thermometers are mercury thermometer. Now this is a digital thermometer. Digital means electronic. Okay. Digital thermometers are easy to read because it gives LCD display of temperature of the person, and this is also mercury free. Means most of thermometers are mercury thermometer, which use as a liquid metal called mercury for their working. Means in that thermometers mercury is present, and mercury is a toxic substance, means poisonous substance, and hence it is very difficult to dispose of safely if thermometer breaks suddenly. When what happens when thermometer is break down in our mouth, then mercury get inside the human body, and it is a poisonous substance, and it is very difficult for that person to survive for a long time, and he died. So mercury is a very toxic substance, means this is a poisonous substance, and hence it is very difficult to dispose of safely if thermometer breaks. Understood? So there is a lot of concern over the use of mercury in thermometer. Now these days digital thermometers are available which do not use mercury. So we can use this thermometer. You see in figure, this thermometer display the temperature of a person on a screen, and this thermometer or also mercury free. And maximum, one thing or more, maximum and minimum thermometers means maximum temperature of a day usually reaches in afternoon, we see every day, whereas minimum temperature occurs in early morning and night. In weather forecasting and other meteorological work, it necessary to know highest or lowest temperature reach in surrounding during a whole day. There is a special thermometer called maximum and minimum thermometer which automatically records the maximum and minimum temperatures of the day. Okay, there is a special thermometer called maximum and minimum thermometer which automatically records the maximum and minimum temperature of the day. Maximum and minimum temperature of previous day reported in weather reports in TV and newspapers are measured by the maximum and minimum thermometer. Understood? These are about thermometers. Now, next is transfer of heat, means to carry one to carry the heat from one part of object to the other part or from one object to the other object, that is called transfer of heat. For example, when we dip a steel spoon in a cup of hot tea, when we dip a steel spoon in a cup of hot tea, we find that temperature of spoon rises and it becomes hot. You can observe at your home. Here, some of heat contained means some of the heat contained in the hot tea has been transferred to the spoon. When we put that steel spoon in a cup of hot tea, then some amount of heat is transferred to the spoon. In this example, heat moves from hot tea to the cold spoon. Heat moves from hot tea to the cold spoon. We know that a utensil like a frying pan become hot when kept on a flame of gas burner of the stove. This is because heat from the hot flame is transferred to the cold utensil, and when a hot utensil is removed from gas burner, then it cools down slowly. In this case, heat is transferred from hot utensil to the surrounding. And you can say that heat flows from hot object to the cold object. And in other words, heat flows from a body at higher temperature to the body at lower temperature. This is called transfer of heat. Okay, and this flow stops when this type of flow of heat stops when the two objects attain the same temperature, because heat flows from the body of high temperature means hot to the cold. When both are hot or both are cold, both the objects are cold, then it attains same temperature, then flow of heats automatically stop. Okay, understood? And heat is transferred in three ways, means heat can be transferred from hot object to the cold object in three different ways. First one is conduction, by convection, and by radiations. In solid, means in solid type, heat is transferred by conduction. In liquid or gases, heat is transferred by convection. And in empty spaces or vacuum, having no medium of liquid like solid, liquid, or gas, heat is transferred by radiations. So, we will now describe conduction, convection, and radiation in detail one by one. Means, what is the meaning of conduction? In solids, when in solids, heat is transferred by the process of conduction. By the way of conduction, heat is transferred in solid objects. In liquid and in gases, heat is transferred by convection. And in any medium, means in any empty space, there is no any medium, like medium like solid, liquid, gas, empty spaces, heat is transferred by radiations. So heat is transferred in three different ways. Now we'll describe one by one. Let's start. First is conduction. Means conduction is the process by which heat is transferred in solids from the hotter end to the colder end. See, if we heat one end of metal spoon by keeping it over a gas burner, we find that its other end is also become hot. And in this case means what heat is transferred from hot end of metal spoon to the cold end. Now heat is transferred from hotter end to colder end. There is no movement of material in the spoon, only heat is transferred from one end to other end. See in this example, to this activity, take an iron or aluminium rod or strip. Fix a few wax pieces on at equal distance. Now clamp the rod to the stand. Hit the other end of the rod. Hit the other end of rod and wax pieces begin to melt or fall down when heat reach at the end. This shows that heat is transferred from hot part to cold part at one end to other end by the process of conduction. Conduction is the transfer of heat from hotter part of a material to its colder part of material without the movement of material to the whole part. Means okay, means transfer of heat by the process of conduction take place only in solids. Understood? This can be explained as follows. In solid, because in solid the particles are very closed, packed together. Particles are means small particles. Everything made up of combining the small particles. But in solid, these particles are closely packed together. So the weight of solid is more than other liquid part, and it's very hard material also. During conduction, heat is transferred from particle to particle. Particle to particle, heat is transferred from particle to particle by means of back and forth vibration of particle. Means one particle to other particle, and the particles of solid remain at their fixed position. There is no actually movement in particles of solid, only transfer of hot end to heat from one end to other hand during conduction. Like this way, heat transferred from one end to other end in solid form. This is called conduction. Understood? Conduction is the process by which heat is transferred in solids from hotter end to colder end. See these examples also. Leave a spoon in pan or juice. You can do this type of activity at your home and observe. Okay. Now about conductor and insulator. You have studied, you have learned these words in your previous class also. Means conductor are the materials which allow heat to pass through them very easily. Means these are good conductors of heat. Means from this heat can be easily pass. Iron, aluminium, copper, these are metals in through which heat is easily pass. Okay, and so all these metals are good conductor of heat. Silver metal is best conductor of heat. Copper is one of the other best conductor of heat. Aluminium is also very best conductor, and metal alloy like brass, steel, stainless steel also very good conductor of heat. Copper is also much better conductor of heat than stainless steel. All the objects made of metals and metal alloy are good conductor of heat. Okay, and Next one is insulator, means those materials which do not allow heat to pass through them. For example, wood, bricks. So these are a poor conductor of heat is an insulator of heat. Plastic, paper, wood, leather, rubber, clay, these are examples. In general, liquids are poor conductor of heat and gases are very poor conductor of heat. For example, water is a poor conductor of heat and air is a poor conductor of heat. In fact, air is a very good insulator of heat. And materials which trap air, such as cotton, wool, are very poor conductor of heat. In other words, material having trapped air, that is excellent insulator of heat. Okay. Now only remind these two terms, conductors and insulators. Now these uses of good conductor and poor conductors of heat. There are some uses. We make use of good conductor of heat as well as poor conductor of heat in our daily life. Good conductors are used to carry heat quickly where it is wanted, and poor conductors are used to stop heat from going where it is not wanted. And cooking utensils are made up of metals. This is because metals are good conductor of heat, which transfer the heat from gas to stove very quickly, and our food is then cooked very fast. Cooking utensils are provided the handle of plastic because plastic is poor conductor of heat, and plastic handle prevents the heat from hot cooking utensil reaching to our hand. So we can easily lift the hot cooking utensils safely from the handle. These are example: your frying pan, aluminium, steel or stainless steel made up of, and these are next example is metallic cooker, pressure cooker. And now mercury metal is used in making thermometer because it is a good conductor of heat. And the handle of soldering iron is made up of wood, and because wood is poor conductor, same repeats word. And also in last year you also do this question, and why electricians made handle of your screwdriver is made up of plastic, because it remain because the plastic is poor conductor, and when electrician use uh, screwdriver for some electric work, then he can't get shock because in his hand that material is made up of plastic, and that is poor conductor of heat and current. Okay, so these are about conductors and insulators. Now, why do we wear woolen clothes in winter? Because woolen clothes keep us warm during winter days. Wool is because this is happen. Wool is poor conductor of heat, due to which wool clothes stop the flow of heat from our warm body to the cold surrounding. So air trapped in fibers of woolen cloth and also stops the flow of heat from our warm body to cold outside. So this type of way woolen clothes keep us warm during winter. Okay, and if we are given the choice in winter of using thick woolen blanket or two thin woolen blanket are joined them, then we should prefer two thin woolen blankets join them, because when thin woolen blankets join together will have a layer of air trapped in between them and extra layer trapped between them, which prevent our body and get more heat, and it keep our body more warm than a single thick woolen blanket. Okay, and also same like the feathers of bird also keep them warm in cool weather due to air trapped in them. Every cold air trapped in the feathers of birds, and his body keeps warm because no air reach to the skin of bird. All the air trapped in the feathers of bird. Okay, sometimes two things which are at same temperature feel like that they are different temperature, one being cold and other being warm. This is happen during any winter season, means when we touch metal object, it conducts away from heat to our hand quickly, and by losing heat our hand feels cold. On the other hand, the wooden object does not allow heat to the other hand to escape, hence feel warmer to touch. So that's why we have to wear winter clothes in winter, woolen clothes in winter, because woolen clothes keep us warm during cold winter days. This is all about our some part of lesson number heat. Remaining parts about convection in air, land breeze, sea breeze, and about radiations we will discuss in our next lecture. Okay, now read this lesson carefully, do your classwork properly, and some questions and complete some questions related to exercise questions related to these topics. Okay, write all the questions in your notebook, and you can see that question answer in your app homework in the form of PDF file. Means you have to do exercise questions, exercise question number 1 to 7. Complete exercise questions of 1 to 7. Okay, thank you, have a nice day, bye.